Epic Queen Podcast.
Hi, Queens! How are you? I'm really happy that we are here today in this amazing place in Siemens Energy. Today with me is Tonya Klingen. She's Vice President and Head of Innovation Center Orlando. And I'm really happy because this is a Women in Leadership, and I'm so thankful for inviting me here. So, first, Tonya, how are you?
I'm doing great. This is my favorite meeting of the day so far. I think my probably by the end of the day will be my second favorite meeting because we are super excited to be hosting the Girls with Energy event here today. It's my privilege. I'm delighted. It's Friday. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. I'm really happy because this is like also for me as an STEM entrepreneur. This is a next step for what I'm doing. So we start in Mexico, then in Latin America, and then in US and the Americas. So
Love it.
we are growing. First, I want you to tell me about your career path. Tell me about your story. What were your dreams when you were young girl?
Sure. The answer is a long and winding road, but true story. My original ambition when I was a young girl, I wanted to be a bus driver. I thought so. I grew up in rural Michigan, and my bus driver drove a stick shift bus, and I thought it was so cool seeing her shift those gears as she drove us all safely to school. So. But fast forward a few years beyond that. So I have been with Siemens Energy for 15 years. Prior to coming to what was then Siemens, I also had a career in the automotive industry where I was in sales and account management, and I called on Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes, where we sold them welded and integrated parts for their automobiles. And then I love to tell the story that 8 days after I signed a $12 million contract with Volkswagen, the company I worked for filed for bankruptcy.
Wow.
So found myself in a position where I thought, well, heck, if you can sell parts, perhaps you can buy parts. And there was an opening at Siemens at the time in the procurement organization. So joined the team. Best move I ever made. I'm a huge fan of Siemens Energy and all the opportunities it provides, not only to its employees, but in particular women and girls. Moved on from there in various roles in commodity management, assumed my first management role within, I think I was at about the 5-year mark, held roles in quality assurance, repair and refurbishment. I was global head of training prior to my now current role as vice president and head of innovation. So I've done a little bit everywhere in the company, and it's funny because every job, and I mean it, every time I start a new job, I say, oh no, this is my favorite job. Oh no, that was a great job, but no, this is my favorite job. So I wonder what's the future going to look like when you have such a privilege to enjoy what you do and the people you get to work with every single day. So that's a little bit about me.
That's a great story. And you were telling me that when you were a little girl, you wanted to be a bus driver. Did you have like some role model in another field or something else that you want to be after that?
You know, I have lots of role models in my family that I can look up to. So I come from a blue collar family. My grandfather was a mounted policeman in the city of Detroit. My father was a policeman for a time in the city of Detroit. My mother was a nurse, and both my grandmothers were homemakers, and my grandfathers both worked in tooling shops and manufacturing in the greater Detroit area. And certainly I can't think of better role models than them. What I learned was you treat everybody has the same value, whether they're the president of the company or they sweep the floor. And everyone is equal and everyone shall be treated as equal. They also really taught me about sort of this Midwestern work ethic and hustle. So if you are oriented to just try to delight and dazzle your customer, whoever that is, you've won half the battle. So they were huge role models for me as I was growing up. And I was the first one in my family to go to university. So always had their support and their, they're proud. They were proud. They are proud. They didn't always understand all of my decisions, but have always supported me and been a role model for me.
Oh, thank you. That was a great story. And let's talk about innovation. What are the primary focus areas or challenges that you and your team are doing here?
So a lot of them, but I think the one that, and I could talk to you about challenges in R&D funding being made available and how to down select on the projects that we're going to work on. You can imagine that my team brings to me 30 projects that are great ideas, but 10 of them are left on the cutting room floor because we can only do so much with the resources that we have. But I think the most important thing that we need to be aware of, all of us, whether you're in innovation or not, is, innovation is about creating what the next new thing is going to be. 35% of the technologies that we're going to use related to energy in the future haven't even come to market yet. And because they're not proven out, we don't understand how they're going to work, what the risk is, what that's going to look like. So for me, when you ask what's the biggest challenge in innovation, for me, it really is pushing that edge to develop, come up with something new, have a new idea, but also balancing it with risk. And you have to be careful as you go through your planning process, manage the risk, share the risk, but don't lose that spark of creativity. So that's the biggest challenge.
I think working in innovation is a really cool job.
I would agree with you.
Because it's like all the time you are inventing things, like you are an inventor and your team are inventors. And it's amazing that you can change like the future with your job, So how did you start how did you start in this job as an innovator? Like, I can't imagine how someone that wants to be a head of this of innovation, or that wants to be an innovator, start doing something, starting in this position. You have this position that is really amazing as a vice president, as a woman leader, but then how someone can become this, like how can I become an innovator, for example?
Yeah. So the short answer is raise your hand.
Okay.
I am always amazed, particularly within Siemens Energy, if you have a passion about something and you want to do something, you are very likely going to get an answer that sounds like, sure, come on and join us. And this space, as you've seen, is an amazing collaborative space that is really enjoyable to be in and lends itself to creativity. And when the innovation function was created, we were built drawing on some of the most senior key experts in the organization with the wildest ideas to come together. And in my role as vice president and head of innovation, and by the way, I do not have an engineering degree, but what I do is free up my team to do the things they know how to do. They are the experts. My job is to block and tackle, take the worries off their plate that they've got that are preventing them from doing the work that they need to do. I often talk about my team should be asking themselves, what does the customer want? What is the customer going to want in 5 years? What does the sales team need to help bridge that gap between what the customer is looking for and where they're at today? That's all my team should be thinking about. All the rest of it is my job to take care of them so that they can take care of the customers.
Mm.
Things that come to mind are like making sure that the supply value chain from end to end is available to them, making sure we are vetting good suppliers and partners, making sure that we're leveraging our university partnerships to help go out and get those free grants that are offered through the Department of Energy and the Inflation Reduction Act, creating conversations and support within the various business units, because some of the business units are more reluctant than others. Well, reluctant isn't the right word. We're having such a boom in so many of our business units that they're busy picking up the money off the floor and don't have time to think about the money they're going to make in 10 years. My job is to bring them to the table so that they can talk to my experts and work with our customers.
And you work as the leader.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And how do you foster innovation? Like, how do you know that something is going to be the thing that is going to innovate the future? It's difficult.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a bit of a gamble and you don't always know. But when you're talking about innovation, the most important thing to get the good ideas is to get people to understand that there is no bad idea.
Mhm.
And one of the things that we do in our function, which is super crazy cool, I love it, we have a measurement, a KPI, a key performance indicator, that 20% of the ideas we come up with
Mhm.
need to be killed within 1 year.
Wow.
Now think about that. Think about it if your job was to come up with ideas and you knew that I needed to kill 20% of them. There's literally no bad idea. And people tell me that they have the feeling, if I know that a certain amount of projects are supposed to be a bad idea, that means that we're pushing the edge and pushing the envelope. Imagine the things that I would come up with if I knew I couldn't get it wrong.
Mm.
So it's really, if you think about it in that respect, it's an open table and all ideas are not only welcome, but I need the crazy ones because I need to kill 20% of them. It really changes the narrative when you take that point of view.
I really like this. Yes,
It's fun.
And it's not only for here. It's you can apply this in everything.
I am supposed to fail
Yeah.
20% of the
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Can you imagine how empowering that is to know that I don't have to get it right every minute of every day? It's awesome.
What do you think are the most exciting and important innovations in the energy sector?
In the energy sector, important and exciting. So for sure, data centers. I think that we, or I should say, the demand that data centers are going to create. I think we have no idea the amount of energy demand that is going to be needed. I think the other exciting thing is all technologies are needed.
Mm-hmm.
Nuclear is needed. Gas-fired power plants are needed. Wind technology is needed. Solar is needed. All of the above. There is literally, we can't have too much pie. There's so many people, bring every pie to the table. I also think what is really exciting is not only is it the technology that we need to be developing, but it's also the resiliency and stability of the grid that needs to be developed. There are I forget the number. I just gave a talk 2 days ago at UCF and I forgot the number, but let's just say the number of people in the world globally who do not have access to modern electricity is actually going up for the first time in 10 years because demand is outpacing supply. And the stability of the grid and the ability to bring the energy to the people that need it is not keeping up with the population that is booming, particularly in regions like Africa and the Middle East and India and Asia. So when you ask what's the most exciting, it's the most exciting and it's the most challenging.
So the way, like, it is the way to innovate in energy is creating different energy. I don't know how to say it, like energy ways of providing
Yes.
energy.
Yeah, so yes, and there's also, there are three components about this energy transition that we're in. You need to make it reliable, so available. You need to make it affordable, but you also need to make it sustainable. So as an example, one of the things that we here in innovation are super proud of and very excited about, we created the prototype of it's called direct air capture, and it is, in very simplistic terms, a piece of equipment. Well, let me take you back. There are two ways that you can make energy more sustainable. You can make it green to begin with, like wind power, like an electric vehicle, or you can use it to decarbonize, pulling emissions out of the air and cleaning the air. Our direct air capture system is the second of those two examples. It's a piece of equipment that you literally place next to some stinky emissions kicking out piece of equipment or manufacturing, and it draws the air through the top, puts it through a filter that then sequesters just the carbon in liquid form and captures it. So it is literally cleaning the air, and each unit, I think it's 2,000 tons a year that it can clean from the system. But you can imagine if there is an industrial factory somewhere that wants to clean up their emissions, and you earn emissions credits and things like this. So it's not only good for the environment and good for the planet, but it's good for the companies. You can set one there, or you can scale it and put 20 of them in there. So the challenge is, now we've proven out the prototype, and that is super exciting and interesting. We've also sold a unit to a customer, but now we need to scale it and work on that affordable piece. Because you can imagine, when you first create something, you're making all the parts by hand, it's more expensive, kind of like when we all started buying printers and iPhones, and now the price is coming down as we scale it, and we're working with partners and suppliers to help supply all those parts for the technology.
Yes, you're making this more exponential, you know?
Exactly.
Yes.
Economies of scale. Exactly right.
Perfect. And I really like that, because sometimes we think as humans that in order to be sustainable, like human beings, normal human beings, not like the big companies, we need to have less energy. Yes, of course, we need to
Conserve,
save, yes.
sure.
But we are also, as humans, we're evolving. We're evolving. So if we are evolving, we need more energy, we have more technology, what we need is not less energy, but different kinds of energy.
And an important component too is making the energy that's available more affordable. I can't tell you how many times I've heard the stories, and you've probably heard it too. You know, people that are on fixed income are making a decision: do I turn the AC on, or do I buy groceries this month? So that also, you know, when you are more efficient and there's more available energy, prices will go down. So
I love that.
Yeah.
It's an amazing way of seeing the opportunity in this innovation sector.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about STEM. So what is the importance of STEM in innovation and energy sector? Like, how do you relate STEM? I think it's really obvious, but how do you relate STEM with this sector?
I think it is, I mean, I know what I know, and my team knows what they know, and what they've been doing, all the really good work, whether it's 20 years, 5 years, or 5 months. But the STEM effort, first of all, I think that women have a certain superpower that they bring to the organization, and a different way of looking at things. And I want more women in engineering, because it's that diverse perspective and way of looking at things really adds to the conversation. I also am particularly interested in developing women who are up and coming and deciding to make this a career, because quite frankly, I know what the new ideas are supposed to look and sound like in the next 5 years, but you know, I'd like to retire eventually. There's going to need to be somebody way smarter than me to come over and take over the helm and bring the ideas that we haven't even thought of yet. And I think I want to get around this stigma that I hear in a lot of conversations with girls and women that engineering is a boy thing. Oh, that sounds like a man's job. I think that engineering can be scary, and for those of us maybe who are not drawn naturally to math and calculus and physics, it doesn't have to be so scary. There is a way to apply yourself in an engineering or technological role that you can do it, as your primary role, but there's also a lot of roles that support that technology, like mine. And I think, Siemens Energy has very ambitious diversity and inclusion goals that we want to meet. And we know that diverse roles are good for business. And quite frankly, we need to bring more of these female, smart, sharp, diverse voices into the conversation.
What kind of careers do you have here in the Innovation Center?
Well, here at the Innovation Center, we are primarily we are not a profit center, so we roll up under what's called a global functions organization. So we are rather limited in our scope because we're funded by R&D. But if we want to talk about for Siemens Energy, what kind of roles? I mean, name me a role that doesn't exist. We have strategic roles, we have technical roles, we have tactical roles in procurement and logistics and accounting and finance and controlling and marketing and sales and being out in field service where you are turning wrenches and teaching our customers how to operate and maintain their equipment. So it runs the full gamut of any
career,
any business, full-fledged business that is required to be profitable and owned by stakeholders and shareholders.
Wow. So basically everything.
Everything, even training. We also have those experienced engineers that then have decided, I want to pay it forward and teach others all the great things I've learned. We even do that.
With the hackathon that we made, Girls with Energy, we have girls that are doing amazing stuff that they could be like tomorrow here in training. Like they are doing like in a hackathon in 24 hours, they create amazing projects. Today you're going to see them.
I love it. I'm so looking forward to it, and it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, me neither. Sometimes we think like, oh, girls from 9 years maybe will not do anything, and you get surprised. Well, now I'm not. Tell me an example of a project that you're creating here that is helping sustainability.
That is helping sustainability. So I gave you the example of the director capture. That's a big one that we're working on. But another one that is also really exciting. So I would say it's not as sexy as our director capture, but it's just as important. So we have a team that sat together with a customer in Germany, in Erlangen, Germany, and they have a main power plant there. And the team built a digital twin of all of the assets of the customer's facility. So the gas turbine, the steam turbine, generator, everything else. Built a digital twin, like a digital model of their equipment.
Well,
and then we inputted some, and again, I have experts that know the full story of this, so I apologize if I'm not, I'm just scratching the surface. I only know enough about it to be dangerous. But they were able to put data through the digital twin and simulate predictive maintenance. So if we adjust this temperature here, if we adjust this flow here, to optimize how the customer was running its plant. And it was, I think, a long process. It took a while to build this digital twin. We had to work, you can imagine, in very close and trustful collaboration with the customer, because they had to show us all of their technology, and IP had to be agreed to, and there had to be a lot of safeguards in place for confidentiality. But at the end of the day, we saved that customer 2% in fuel costs by adjusting their parameters of how they ran the manufacturing and all of their not the manufacturing, how they ran all of their assets. And I don't recall what that total dollar amount or euro amount was, the 2%, but as a comparison, South Texas Power Plant spends $1 million a day in fuel. So if you can save your customer 2%, I'm thinking it's a whole lot of money.
So 1%, that's a lot of money.
So it was a very significant number that everybody was really surprised about. And now, of course, the fun thing is everybody wants to talk to us about that building them a digital twin to do that predictive maintenance for them as well.
Now we finish with the technical questions, but I want to know more about you and your role here. I want to know, you already told me that you raised your hand a lot, but sometimes it feels really far away to see a woman or to see yourself as a vice president, as a CEO, as a CTO, CFO, all the C levels. How do you tell the people or the women how they can do that? Like, how can I, another girl, be like you, because you're a role model? What is the path? Where to start?
Yeah, I think there is. I saw a saying once that I would hope would apply to me. I'm not so sure sometimes, but they say that luck is where hard work meets opportunity. And I think, when I'm speaking with mentees and young women and they ask me, a similar question, I don't have a magic answer, but what I do tell them is, you need to, so first of all, bring your hustle, work hard. You're going to be, whatever career you choose, we as women, because of who we are and what we're naturally good at and what our natural superpowers are, you are going to be in a room and you're going to notice that your bar is here, and you maybe are going to see some people whose bar's down here. And the trick is, keep your bar here, but do it with humility and humble. You are not better than anybody else. Okay. But if you can work it out to be the person that people come to solve a problem, be the kind of person that removes stuff off people's plate instead of adding something to their plate. I would much rather have someone who has a desire to learn and wants to learn, wants to help, wants to have impact. I'd much rather work with someone like that than someone, say, who graduated from Harvard or MIT and thinks it's all about them. And speaking of that, that is the other piece of advice I give to people a lot. Do not make it all about yourself. Turn your focus to, how can I be of service and help and support this other person? And if you don't have the answer, but you know someone that does, hook them up with the person that has the answer. And it's really as easy as that. If you make it always about everyone else, whether you're in a professional role or a management role, it served me well. And I've seen it serve others really well too.
That was a great advice. I will take it. Thank you.
Sure.
So we're going to finish a little bit, like we're going to start finishing. And the last question will be like, you already gave us a lot of advice. So my last question was, do you have another advice for the girls, for the women, for the public?
I do. I do. So, and it's a little bit controversial advice, if that's okay.
Yes,
but I mean,
I like controversy.
But I mean it. I think the first thing I would say is we as women, you know, every single successful woman I talk to has this imposter syndrome, like, oh my God, when they figure out who I really am, they're going to throw me out, right? My first piece of advice is do not listen to the voices that you hear when you are feeling scared or alone. You will lie to yourself. Don't believe it. The other thing I would say, and this is the controversial part, before you start talking about how unjust things are, how you're being marginalized, how you're being treated, clean your own porch. Are you acting with integrity? Are you gossiping? Are you doing that nasty, nice thing that women like to do? Are you lifting other women up? How are you conducting yourself? If your boss comes by and your colleague is out for lunch, do you say, she went to lunch, I don't know, I didn't see her leave, I'll tell her when you get back? Or do you say, no, Jane's at lunch. As soon as I see her, I'll let her know you're looking for her. And then do you send her a text, boss is looking for you? So really, really concentrate, focus on your integrity, your inner compass. And then the third piece of advice I would say, I think the beautiful thing about women is that we are sensitive. And I would say, don't develop a thicker skin. Keep your thin skin because that is your superpower. But what you need to do is build a stronger skeleton.
That was amazing.
I wish I could take credit for it. I thought it was amazing when it was told to me too.
Well, thank you so much for this. It was a great advice, and they were really good advices for us.
Thank you. Thank you.
How can we know or learn about Siemens Energy, the Innovation Center, and if you want to share your contact or something that is shareable?
Yeah, certainly. And I think, I don't know if we're able to send out something or display something on the video, but
Yes.
we do have a website here at the Innovation Center Orlando. We have a full innovation campus with technical application center, additive manufacturing. We have internship programs. We have engineering development programs. So I think if you just click on that main link there, it can take you to all the various places where you can learn more and get involved. And thank you. Thanks for hosting me today. I really appreciate it.
And thank you for having me here. I'm really happy to be here in the Innovation Center. I'm super excited about giving a tour. Like, I'm going to be in the tour. And
You're going to love it.
Everything.
You're going to love it.
I love robots. I love futuristic stuff. The girls already know that. And I'm so happy that today, together, we're going to see all the girls.
It's going to be great. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Epic Queen Podcast.